I got a big head because they call me fat head. But what would need this big of a hole? Let's talk about Audiopipe. That's an 18-inch carbon fiber cone, 5-stack, 1900 watts, 3800 watts. People always say, well, Audiopipe doesn't take that much power, but you don't need that much power, and people have had great results. Let's talk about this. I'll see you in a minute. Hey, it's Big Jeff coming to you with another unboxing, and we're talking about Audiopipe and some 18-inch woofers. Now, BDC series, popular series, very efficient, don't need a ton of power to move these things. The 12s, when they made the 5-stack, people talk really bad about them because, oh, the magnet's not that big and don't have power. But those things flew off the shelf. So now they have BDC, basically 3s, 4s, 5s, and it's slugs. Basically what they're saying is 4 slugs, 5 slugs, but they now have the 18-inch, and it's still the same quality and designing of the 15, the 12, the 10, the 8, and all the way down. First thing right away, and I'm gonna turn on the Big Jeff cam. Big Jeff cam. Look. I love the cones. Carbon fiber with this red look. You're getting a little bit of glare there. Really stiff, strong. I mean, it's strong. Okay, and then looking in here, see double tinsel leads. The spider's super stiff on the 5-stack. Well, we're gonna talk all about that. And then a little design that Audiopipe has. So on one side of the woofer, it's just a positive and negative. The other side of the woofer is positive and negative, positive, negative. Why? So you can go in here and out of here to the other woofer. Just makes it a little easier with wire management, and that's kind of their design. But let's get back to this. So what I have here is the BDC, and then they went to Roman numerals. So they do little changes when they make changes. Instead of version 2, version 3 is like some companies do, and there's nothing wrong with that. In this case, they said, hey, we want to keep it the BDC, but we want to use Roman numerals instead of numbers. So that's what they did. So we have the 4 and the 5. Now, the first thing is you're going to notice, and it's kind of hard to notice that way with this angle, but can you turn the Big Jeff cam back on? One is taller than the other. Okay. So the BDC-V, which is Roman numeral 5, is 5 stacks or 5 slugs, okay? And the BDC-IV, which is basically IV, and that's how you write out the Roman numeral, is 4. Now, you would think a whole nother slug or a whole nother magnet in the motor would make that much difference on the power, but you're talking 1700 watts, 1900 watts. I don't know. They're both 4-inch coils, right? But the design is different in the BDC 5-stack because it's a different spider. It's way more tight. So you do have to loosen up, but this was designed 25 hertz to 1500 hertz. Definitely your bass head. The 4 guys compete with the 4s all the time, but a little bit different. It's a softer spider, and it can play down to 15 hertz to 800 hertz. Now, I do want to do a video to this with the guys from Audiopipe, which I couldn't get on weekend. J-Rod is actually in China, and he's the main engineer and tech there. So we will get some updates, but you hit that like button right now. And if you can explain to me or the rest of the people, why does a 5 magnet only handle 200 watts more, but doesn't have a frequency response as low compared to the 4-stack that is a less stiff spider, but their frequency response said was 15 hertz, 800 hertz. So I'd love to hear that, because that's something I don't know and I'm going to look into it, but I wanted to go through with the video just to show you. Now, massive, and I think in the beginning of the video, they probably started out with this. Look how big of a hole that is. Now, turn on the big Jeff cam. Here is this big BOA R series, but look how big, and that's I mean, look at the difference. It's huge. There's a 12-inch woofer. Look at the difference. Okay. So let's just talk about some normal specs here and prices. So the 5-stack, or the BDC-V or the BDC-V, is 1900 watts, 4 ohms. And could you hand me the pamphlets over there? I want to get a little deeper on this video. 4-inch voice coil. And these are online right now for $428.99. The IV, or 4 slugs, which we said was 1700 watts, dual 4 ohm. These are both dual 4 ohm. 15 hertz to 800 hertz. Okay, so staring at this thing, looking at it, you wouldn't see any difference at all, except that there's an extra, they call it slug or magnet, part of the motor structure. So that makes it taller, but the rest looks the same. But I was told for sure that there is definitely something different in the winding of the coil and also the spider. So if you did have to rebuild this, you wouldn't be getting a BDC-IV to rebuild it, okay? But the rest of it, they look the same. Now, for you Audiopipe fans, they've been around for a long time and they've really made a huge comeback. Let's look at some of these specs here. I'm talking about the BDC-V right now. And then over here is the BDC-IV. So the FS on the 4 is 30 and the FS on the 5 is 35. So lower, and that's where we're getting it from. But let's look at a couple other things here. Let me get out of the Spanish section for y'all. And then we'll do some close-ups. Box specs. We're talking about the 5-stack right now. And I'm in Spanish. Let me see. I'll have to try to figure it out. Oh, that's why there's 2 pamphlets. Duh! There we go. Yep, this one will be English. That makes things a lot easier. I understand Spanish a little bit. Okay, so cool thing here in the notes, it even shows you diagrams how to wire them up for you new guys. So how to wire 1, 2, even 3 and 4 to get a load. So for instance, if you were doing 3 of them and they were dual 4 ohms, it shows you how to wire it and get 2.67 ohm, which a lot of time when people stack amps together, it needs to be at 2 ohm. 2 of them obviously showing you how to do 1 ohm or connecting to get a 2 ohm load. So really cool. All right, now box specs on the 5. A basic seal box recommended is 2.25 cubic foot to 5.5 cubic foot. That's a big difference. But keep in mind, they're saying recommended don't go under 2.25, and that is small, so that you're not going to get very low notes. But if you want really tight, punchy, and you're in a small area and you're still trying to squeeze a 18 in there, that's where you can go. So that's really not that bad. But you can go as big as 5.5 cubic feet, and obviously that would get you a lower response. Now, on the vented, they're recommending ported enclosure 4.25 to 7.5. So if you notice, it goes up real big, and that's always, we've talked about in past videos that seal boxes can be smaller. You can put more power to them because there's more of a restriction, and it's a better bass response, ultimately better sound quality. Venting is very particular, and you want to make it exact. Think of a trombone, and you go moving it an inch, it changes the whole tone. It's the same thing in a port. But here, if you're going in the middle, it's saying you need about 5 cubes for one of these, and you got the displacement of the woofer, the port, and everything else. On this one, the 4, maybe you guys could put that up right now. The 5 over here needs to be sealed 2.25 to 5.5, and then vented 4.25 to 7.5. 7 cubes is a lot of room. So make sure you have that room if you're gonna go vented, and that's only with one. Now, 2 of them on this. So think about it, 14 cubes for 2 of them. You're talking about refrigerators. Okay. The 4 stack, put this over here, recommended seal 2.25 to 5.5, which is the same. And then they're also showing the same specs for the vented, 4.25 to 7.5. Okay, so they do give you some examples on the tuning port. With a 12.5 inch 2 port area per cubic foot can use the following lengths to get 1. So 16 inches for 40 hertz, 20 inches of port, 36 hertz, 25 inches of port, 33. And then for 32 low notes, 32 inches for 30 hertz. So you'd have to definitely do a port that wraps around. And that is for square rectangular. You would have to refigure it out if you're gonna do a round port. But it's very cool that Audiopipe does give you information like that to work off of. And then they give you a full, basically diagnostic. Can you turn on the Big Jeff cam? The lights are so bright here. Just give people an idea what they get here. And then you get the boxes. Okay, so that's really cool that this stuff comes in there. Okay, so I know everybody wants to see this thing move and flex and everything else. So just because we've been doing that more and more, give me a minute. I'm gonna set that up, and while I'm gone, hit that like button. Maybe share this out on Facebook or YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed or followed, please do that. We are aim to please, and we do run giveaways to give back all the time. And now we have it on our website. Ben, throw it up on the screen. Where on the website can they go to see the most recent up-to-date giveaway, which means you still have time. So I'm not gonna say what is going on right now because shooting this video, depending on when it's edited, but you will see where to go on the bigjeffaudio.com where you possibly give away. But anyway, I'm gonna be right back. Big Jeff from Big Jeff Audio. Let's see one of these moving. Let's get the hertz low. We built this to hold the woofers a while back. Kind of cool idea. It was from a server rack that we weren't using, so we went bigger. And we made different cutouts on top for different size woofers to put them in. So flex test or have something like that. It's pretty cool. But it's a little bit of work. You gotta take it out, each one, set it up. Right now, we have the woofer mounted, and I'm getting the wires ready to power it up. So Audiopipe also has, like we talked about earlier, 2 terminals each side on one of them. So there's 2 terminals under here. One will be the jumper to the other coil, and the other one will be going to the other part. And then you have the FLIR right here. This thing, which we bought the other night, it does temperature, obviously, infrared. Cool thing is it'll record also. There it goes. So right there, can they see it?
Yes.
That's my body temperature. Right, so that's the skin. This is pretty accurate. Okay. So now last thing, another piece of wire. Now for the actual YouTubers out there that video them building and doing stuff, stuff's not easy. It takes a lot of time. And even as you see here, this is nothing major, but it does take time to set up. Have an extra person filming, and then all the editing. So big props to those guys. So now what I have here is this lead going to one coil, and then the jumper going off to the other coil. Okay, so we're back. I had to do a couple weird things, so it looks kind of messy because all the stuff I have here in this awesome test booth I'm missing a couple RCAs. So anyway, if you're a real installer, you make lemons in the lemonade and you figure things out. So combat that, I had some Ys here from Sundown. So instead of using them as Ys, I just use them as a female to female. So that works. I'm using SMD IMSG, which is a Hertz, their meter signal. And then I'm using a new prototype heavy duty Big Jeff bass knob, and still using trusty old Black Diamond amplifier, which then changed the camera. Going over here, we have this contraption we made to mount woofers for the flex test. And then one more, which you're gonna see in a second, is our FLIR. We're gonna be checking the heat. So sitting temperature, I'm just stepping up my shoes. About 92 degrees Fahrenheit. We were just playing with it. Oh, I'm sorry, 73 degrees. There you go. The max was 97 when we were playing it. So you'll be able to see this in the screen as we crank it up. Okay, and we have some power supplies here. I'm just gonna get it about 13.6. We're good. Okay, so technically, I'm gonna start down at 15 Hertz. And here we go. Let's watch it. Okay, so 15 Hertz. First thing I want you to notice, you rarely hear it. There is a little bit of vibration here, but the sound doesn't hear it. 15 Hertz is very low, but it's playing it. And we're still just about 73 degrees. You can see a little hot spot right there. Yep. Okay, well, she's doing good so far. And if you look, cool excursion, bass knob. Oh. There we go. Now I'm gonna go up to about 20. You can see a lot more movement, vibrating the crap out of the table. Excursion though, great movement. Look at that though, the coil's still staying cool. That's the bending that they designed. Okay, so we're learning a little bit about frequency. So now, if I go up, sorry, the SMD shut off. The battery's kind of low. I'm gonna go up to about 32, 33. And we'll just go even 35. All right. Okay, so as you can see, as we go up in frequency, there is less movement, the excursion, for that frequency. And you'll notice as I go up to 40, it's moving even faster and smaller strides. Kind of cool. Let's check the temperature. Man, that thing's still staying pretty cool. We're not killing it. We're just running it right now. All right, now if we go up to 50, you start to hear it more. And less movement this way, but man, you can feel the vibration. Okay, so what have we learned so far? Lower frequency, more excursion. Lower notes, you hear it less, but you feel it more. Where this whole place is going, we're still max of 87. So I'm gonna turn this thing up. We'll give it some more power. Tim, the toolman, tell you to say more power. If you're old enough for that. So we're gonna go. All right, here we go. Back down 40. Wow, the amount of air that's pushing out of here too, I think is why the coil is staying cool, which is awesome. And that is different to buy an Audiopipe product, maybe a little bit more expensive, And over here, we're just starting to heat up now. 87. So if you ever seen people, let me turn around on the camera over here. If you ever see people like park in the base area and when they're demoing and their system gets real hot, they don't want to just shut it off. They actually play a very low frequency to move air to cool off the coil. So what do we need to do to get this thing heating up? Well, definitely it's not going to be in the lower notes. We need to do it in the higher notes. So I'm going to go 50 hertz. Oh, that's the amp, not the speaker. We're probably going to need a bigger amp to get more power out. Well, let's see if it starts to raise up at a higher. Okay, you see it now, it's going up in the 90s. So exactly what I said, a higher frequency will start to build heat. The woofer is designed to move air over the coil, but as you can see, it is going up. So where we were in the 80s, now we're in the 90s. So let me go a little bit higher. I definitely don't want to hurt the subwoofer. We're about 56 hertz. Right, you see it now, we're in 100 degrees. There we go, now that coil's heating up. Why? Because there's not as much air being pushed over through the driver, through the coil, and it'll heat up. So if we leave it here for a period of time, even at low power, you will destroy your subwoofer. And I want everybody to understand that when they blame blowing stuff up. I should really prove my point that even with low power, higher frequencies, it started to heat it up right away. So at lower frequencies, we're in the 80s. And then as we raised the frequency level and got into the 50s, it got hot. So learning lesson one is when you're demoing and you need to cool stuff off, don't just shut it off. Put it in that 20 hertz range or lower and just let it blow air. Now, people always say, well, it's a 3,000 watt sub and I only had 1,000 watts and it blew up. Yeah, because distortion will kill a speaker first. Now, yes, if I try to run 10,000 watts through a sub, it's gonna pop it out of there. But for blowing woofers, distortion under power will do it. Now you can see just that little power, that black diamond was heating that coil up. Was it from distortion? Yes, because I also took the gain all the way up past the distortion level. So what you don't see or hear was the distortion in there plus the higher frequency equals heat. Heat equals, and that's not covered under warranty. So, really cool. What I know you guys want to do is, hey, Big Jeff, why not put a bigger amp on there? I'm not here trying to destroy stuff. I just want to show you the efficiency. Now, notice on that little black diamond amp was moving that sub the way it was. That's incredible. You know what I mean? The efficiency of that driver, 5 stacks, 18 inches of surface area was moving pretty good. So that was a really cool test to prove some points. That's what I wanted to do. So wrap this up. You got the BDC-IV, which is the 4, and the BDC-V. They're really close in price, like within $30. Why should you buy different? Well, I would say if you're doing more sound quality or want that big woofer for those low notes, go with the 4. I just think that has a better frequency response and range. And if you're just straight SPL, go with the 5. There's really no big difference in the actual power and very close. 392 compared to 428. Some of you will say, I just want the 5, it's the best. I can't tell you it's the best or not until I compare both together and until I get the information directly from Audiopipe's engineer, J-Rod, and operations manager, Frank, which I will get that and we'll do an update. So make sure you hit the like button. I hope you like some of these newer videos. We're going a little bit more in depth, taking a little bit more time and not rushing them. There is other stuff we can do. I could have ran it through the DAT, but their information was complete. And I'm only running the DAT really on woofers, a product that doesn't come with that, so you all can get that information. So hit that like button, hit that share button, Big Jeff all the way. We got some new product coming this year. I just put a post up about all the distribution parts, battery terminals, bus bars, 2-in-1s, reducers. Real cool. So support us, we support you. And there's the website right here, or actually where you go on our website, even in the help center, about giveaways, see what is up to date and what you have time to do, and do it. Okay, until next time, I'm Big Jeff from Big Jeff Audio. See ya.